Hi, Richard Moore here from 8-StepStartup. I hope you're having a great day. I want to speak to you about design. I've actually been in touch with a wonderful chap by the name of Kevin Lee. This guy has really had a great career. He's been involved with eBay, and then with Samsung, and then with PayPal, and now he's with Visa. He's their global head of design. And throughout those roles, he's been the lead in design and user experience. So, you know, how you use PayPal, how you use Visa, for instance, how you interact with its programs. Also things like, you know, how eBay works and functions, you know, product vision, things like that. It's really exciting stuff. And I asked Kevin about customer engagement, because this stuff's critical. You can have the greatest message in the world even, as well as the greatest product, and without conveying it in the right way, what you end up with is simply, you know, no real traction with people. And this is what stumps a lot of business owners I'm working with. So what I'm looking at here is understanding how you actually design and build the product itself. So when I spoke to Kevin, I said, you know, tell me a bit more about how you should be really designing a product, what kind of things you have in mind. And he's given me a load of great stuff. But one of the things he said, Richard, you should design with, instead of features in mind, you should be thinking a bit more about the way in which you look at context. So rather than thinking about designing the product features, so simply how something works, or this can relate of course to a service as well, or a course or a program, whatever it is you're making, you should think more on the actual journey. So for instance, with Visa at the moment, if you look on online, you'll see a lot of the ways that you can interact with Visa's apps on your mobile, much like with PayPal, for instance. And you know, what he's saying is that you should be thinking about the end-to-end commerce experience and what a customer is actually experiencing throughout that journey of potentially using your product. So if you view it in that context, rather than just having things that work quite well in the product, then what you're doing is you're zooming in a bit more to the customer experience. And one of the pieces of advice he said was, you know, Richard, you've got to strive as much as possible to focus in on the customer experience as much as possible. So this goes hand in hand with this idea. I mean, Robin Terrell, who used to be the managing director of Amazon UK, said to me, you know, do everything in your power to understand as much as possible about the customer. There's your research element, but the customer experience itself is crucial, because you're actually thinking then on what steps they go through, what hoops they jump through, what the life or journey is actually like when they're using a product or a service. And when I was in touch with John Hughes, sales director at Red Bull, he also said the same. With the marketing, you need to map everything about the customer experience back to your marketing. So this whole thing talks about more of a journey, all the way down to creating the product itself, thinking about what's the actual experience going to be like. You know, if I create a real world example, imagine I'm running a gym. It's no good just to have great equipment at my gym. I've got to think about the experience itself, and some of the best gyms don't have the best equipment. They have the right kind of vibe. So you go in, maybe it's the right kind of music, maybe there's a smoothie stand if that's what people want. Whatever it is, you need to think hard on that whole end-to-end experience, and then you're getting more into the emotion and psychological side of things, which is really the core part of where we're deciding to buy your product and really enjoy using your product resides. And a great example, one of the biggest companies in the world, of course, is Apple, and they're very famous for focusing on not just the actual features, as in the product features of their smartphones, but with their iPhones, the focus is a little bit more on the actual experience itself. So what's it like using a phone, and you know, the tactile experience, the way usability works, the way interacting with apps works, as opposed to simply does it work or not, and is it functional or not. There's a little bit more touchy-feely sensitivity going on there. So that's Kevin Lee, currently global head of design for Visa. Fantastic to be in touch with him, and what what a guy. He's fantastic background, he's an amazing experience. So someone who's worked at the very top in his field for eBay, PayPal, Samsung, and now Visa. I certainly paid a lot of attention to what he had to say. So I hope that helps, and catch up with you soon.